In this video, we are going to see the use of the this keyword. Now, to explain this, let me take a program. So we have already seen the rectangle class. So let me just write it here. Class rectangle with one integer type length and another integer type instance variable breadth. We have also discussed in our previous lecture about constructor. So suppose I have a parameterized constructor for rectangle class, rectangle, and now I have two parameters. So let me give the names of these parameters as length and int breadth. So now, as you can see here, we have two instance variables, length and breadth. So these are your instance variable. Two instance variables, length and breadth. And at the same time, we also have two parameters here, length and breadth. Okay. So if you can recall from our previous class on constructor, we wrote something like this. That is, we take the value that is here and we assign it to the instance variable. So length, we will assign it to length, breadth, we will assign it to breadth. But here, if you notice this here, if I write it length, by this length, I mean the instance variable length is assigned the parameter length. So now there is a confusion. Okay, this is what we mean, but does it represent that? Does it represent what we are trying to assign? How will the compiler know that this length is supposed to represent the parameter and not the instance variable? Similarly, for breadth, assigned breadth. So in this case also, how does the uh, how does the compiler understand that this breadth represents the data member, the uh, argument or parameter, and this breadth indicates the instance variable? So there is no way of knowing this. So to make this confusion clear, okay, what we had done earlier is we had given length is L and breadth is B. Okay, we had given different variable names. But that does not mean that I cannot write it in this manner, where the instance variable name and the arguments in the constructor are same. They have the same name. So in this case, what we do is we use something called the this keyword. So what this keyword does is that I can use this, this to represent the current object. The current object. So what I mean by the current object? So if we go back and see here, these this length and breadth are instance variables. So whenever an object of rectangle class is created, a copy of length and breadth is created for that object. But here, length here and breadth here, they are local variables. So these two are what? These are local variables of this method of the constructor. These are local variables. So these will be created, or memory will be allocated to this two, length and breadth, only when the constructor is called. Okay, so these are two different locations. So if I have to draw something like this, so suppose I have this is my object. So here I have a length and I have a breadth. So I have memory allocated for length and breadth. But at the same time, when I'm calling the constructor, in main memory, a location for length will be assigned and a location for breadth will be assigned. So what we have here, these two are for the instance variables, whereas these two are for your local variables of the method. These two will exist as long as the object is present, and these two will exist as long as your method or the constructor is executing. Beyond the execution of the constructor, this length and this breadth will not exist anymore. So coming back to the keyword this, okay, what we use this for? We use it in order to remove this mismatch between our uh, local variables and the instance variable. So let me write the constructor again. So rectangle, int length, int breadth. So what is done in the constructor? On this side, we write the instance variable. We write the instance variable is assigned the value of the local variable. So we will write length is assigned length, okay? But to indicate that this length here is a instance variable, we will write it like this. So we'll use the keyword this to represent it in this manner. So this dot length. So when I precede a identifier here, length, by using the keyword this, then it always means that this is not a local variable, it is an instance variable. Similarly, for breadth, I will write this dot breadth. So this dot breadth is assigned breadth. So that is the use of the this pointer. It is used to resolve this kind of complications where the local variable name and the instance variable name are the same. Now, if we just look at the execution, if we look at an execution, suppose I create a rectangle. So I create a rectangle here. Let me write it as rectangle. R1 is assigned new rectangle, say 10 and 5. Okay. So when I do this, this 10 goes to the local variable in the constructor, int length, int breadth. Okay. So this 10 goes to this local variable and this 5 goes to your local variable breadth. So if I draw the memory map for it, this is the memory map. Let's say from here to here, this is the object R1. So here I will have for length, and this is the location for breadth. Okay. And then say from here to here, I have for the constructor. This memory is allocated for the constructor, variables in the constructor. So here also I have length and breadth, right? So now what happens? Because of this assignment, which length will get the value 10? First, it will be this length, and this will get the value 5. Now the rectangle class will in the constructor will be called. Okay, once this assignment is done, then we are calling the constructor. So in the constructor, we had written something like this. This dot length is assigned length. Okay, so what will happen? This value will be assigned to the instance variable length. So this here now refers to the object R1. So 10 will be assigned to length here. So now R1 dot length would be 10. Same way for breadth is assigned breadth. Okay, so the value of breadth here is this 10. So this value will be taken and given to R1 dot breadth. So 5 will be transferred here. So this is how this is going to